So today we are going to talk about three things. So first thing is our ETL. Second is ELT. And third is our Medallion architecture. Now the people who are data analysts or data engineers, this is for all of you. But to understand this more, first of all, we have to understand the flow, like what are these three things and why exactly they are used. So whenever you work as a data engineer or a data analyst, you have to create a process. You have to create a process, and that process is that there will be a source of data. There will be a source of data. Now, this source of data can be any source. So right now, if we talk in present, then this source of data can be any storage service. Now, what is a storage service? So storage service, if we talk about clouds like AWS, GCP and Azure, then this storage service can be exampled with Amazon S3 or AWS S3. Now this source of data can be a database. This source of data can be a CSV file, comma Excel file, comma folder. And this source of data can be any JSON file or any RDBMS like your MySQL and your PostgreSQL. So these all things can be a source of data. So now from this source of data, so this is the example of source of data. So from this source of data, we have to take this data or we have to land this data somewhere. So let's take an example. You have your own storage. You have your own storage or you have your own data warehouse. So let's say you have your own data warehouse and there is a source of data which is located at these places. Now, first of all, you have to extract this source of data and you have to make it in your own storage. So this process from where you are extracting the data from a particular source and you are loading it into your own data warehouse, this particular thing is known as extraction. Okay, this is particular thing which is extraction. Now, once you have loaded this data, now many of the times you transform this data. Like, let's take an example. The data that you have loaded was a CSV file, but there were multiple kind of errors. Let's say there were duplicate rows. Let's say there were kind of columns like sales and quantity, and you want to create a new column which is total cost, which is basically sales into the quantity value. Now let's say if you have data in a different format, like different data type, then you have tried to fix it. Let's say there is a number value which is in string format, so you have fixed the different data types. And by doing all these things, you use particular libraries like PySpark or SQL. You use these two things. You use either PySpark library or SQL to transform this data. Or you can say to make this data in a better version of itself. So that is particular process which is known as transformation. And when you extract this data, from the source, you land it into a data warehouse. So this particular place or this particular process is known as load. So you have loaded the data. Now many people do this process like they first extract, then they transform, and then they load. And many people first extract, they directly load it into data warehouse, and after that they try to transform it as per their usage. So this is a normal traditional setup in any company of related to data. They follow this complete rule. Now, the best part is that all this process of extraction, transformation, and load is automated. This whole process is automated. So it's not like every day you run this process by your own. It is automated process. And this automated process is known as pipeline in data engineering. This process is known as pipeline in data engineering. Okay, now let me give you an example. So let's take an example. There is a Postgres database. There is a Postgres database. And in this Postgres database, let's say there are files of Swiggy. So there are payment related records of Swiggy. Payment related records, let's say, are saved here in this Postgres database. Now somebody wants to do the analysis, like how many credit card payments we are getting, how many debit card payments we are getting, and on a daily basis, what are the different kind of payments. Now this data is present in a Postgres database. Now, Postgres database is a kind of a transactional database. This is a kind of transactional database. So as it is a transactional database, so it is not used that much for data analysis. Like it is not used as a source for multiple kind of data analysis because it is a transactional database. So now a person cannot directly create a report or a dashboard with this data source. What people do is they try to land this data. They try to land this data into their storage. So let's say take an example. In our case, this was a Azure storage, which is known as Azure Data Lake. And many people call it as ADLS. So now let's say this in this Azure Data Lake, we got our data. So now we have done the process of loading. We have loaded this data. Now to load this data, we must have written some code. Then that code is along with Python is the automated code which will run every day and will load the data into Azure Data Lake. Now inside the Azure Data Lake, let's say inside the Azure Data Lake, this particular Azure Data Lake, we have stored the data. Now this data source or this data we have to use in our Hive data warehouse. So let's say we have a Hive data warehouse. And let's say my company is using a data warehouse which is Hive. And they write SQL queries on this particular data warehouse. So now first this data got loaded into Azure Data Lake. Now once this load process is done, people try to transform it. So they try to write or do transformation on this data. So they transform this data, they removed all the junk values and they created a data which is ready to use. Now, once this data is ready to use and the transformation is done, this particular data will get loaded inside my data warehouse. This particular data will get loaded inside my data warehouse. So now here in this particular scenario, our extraction step was there. Then we loaded the data into a particular, you can say, Azure Data Lake. Then we tried to transform this data from this particular data lake storage. And then we tried to put it into a Hive data warehouse in the form of a table. In the form of a table. And once this table is created, you have written some SQL queries or PySpark queries, and you have created a data set. And now this data set, let's say you have used in a Power BI dashboard to show your report of daily payments and what kind of payments are there. So if you see, you must be able to understand what exactly extraction transformation and loading basically means. So many of the times you know that the data. So when I say transformation, so transformation has multiple things. Transformation has multiple things. So in transformation, we try to, so I will tell you from the start, we try to fix the tables by fixing their data type, by fixing their column names. Second thing that we do is we try to transform the data. So when I say transform the data again, then this basically means that currently I have raw level of data, which is from the source. Now let's say in this data, the records are at, let's say, day level. In this data, let's say records are at day level. Now, in our final report, or you can say not day level, in this particular report, the details of the data is at day level and order level. So you can say simply day and order level. So it has all the information on a particular day, what are the orders that are done. Now, this raw data I have to transform also. So I can make this raw data by writing a SQL query or a PySpark transformation, and I will create it in a form which will show me in the final result 3 columns: month, total sales, total returns. Let's say this raw data I have transformed into this level on a month, total sales and total returns level. So now all these things are part of transformation only. Once you will try to load them, once you will try to load them into a data warehouse where you can write your SQL queries and all those things. So once you will try to load this into your data warehouse, then you will load it in the final format or in the final transformed way in which you require it. So this is basically a kind of ETL and ELT mechanism. So this is a kind of ETL and ELT mechanism. Is this clear to all of you what ELT and ETL means? Now this process is known as ETL, but if you automate this process, then this is a kind of a ETL or ELT pipeline. Now to transform this, or you can say to do a kind of way, this all these things are automated. So there you have to use your Python script, you have to do some codings, you have to do some like PySpark transformation, you have to do multiple things. But my agenda is not to show you coding right now. My agenda is to explain you what exactly this process is. Now our lecture is not about ETL and ELT anymore, because right now these processes of ETL and ELT are outdated. Today, people work with Medallion architecture, which is a modern architecture. So now one more thing. If all of you are, let's say, going to prepare for data engineering in future, then I will simply say that Medallion architecture is right now very important. If you know Medallion architecture, see all this Medallion architecture or any kind of architecture is there only to make your life easy or make your data perfect. So in data engineers, if there is a Medallion architecture, then data engineer does not have to again and again correct the data, and he does not have to do again and again the things. He will simply create a pipeline and he will make that pipeline in the form of Medallion architecture, and he will not face lot of issues and you can say errors. So this Medallion architecture is great. ETL and ELT is also good, but this Medallion architecture is great. Now, what is Medallion architecture? So I will give you an example. So Medallion architecture is basically a kind of a way. So I will tell you what kind of way it is. So I will write here Medallion architecture. So now in this Medallion architecture, first of all, we have to understand three things. So first is bronze. Second is silver. And final is gold. So Medallion architecture is basically a kind of a process in which we have three things: bronze, silver, and gold.
Now let me explain you what exactly this bronze, silver, and gold means. Okay, so now try to understand one thing, that all these three are kind of layers, and these layers these layer exactly make our data very much correct, or you can say these layers are mostly created to get the final version in the correct way. Now this is very simple explanation, but I will be explaining you in all detail, like what exactly this process is. And we'll be understanding this with an example. And the class agenda is to understand this thing only. Okay. Now let's try to understand this particular process. So this particular medallion architecture is popularized or first created, or you can say in Databricks. So Databricks is a tool, or you can say Databricks is a service where you can have your data in the form of catalog, or you can say in the form of a meta store, or you can simply say it's a kind of a data warehouse kind of thing only. So Databricks is a place which has popularized this medallion architecture. Now, this is a kind of multi-layered architecture, and this is used to make the data structure and make the data qualitative, which means that the final data that we will get, it will be more qualitative and will be more structured. That is the reason why this whole medallion architecture came into the picture. Now, normally, if you know, then what you do? Normally, you extract the data from a source, and you try to transform that data, and finally you try to load that data. This is the normal process that you are doing. Now this process only they have changed, and this process they have changed in a kind of layered approach. So this time there will be a layered approach. So first is bronze layer. So what is bronze layer? Bronze layer is a kind of a layer which is basically the landing zone of data. Now let's say I have this source. Let's say I have a particular source of data. Now, from this source of data, I will try to make this data available in my bronze layer. Now, this is exactly the same data which is there from the source, which is basically you can write here raw level data. So this data is exactly same as your source data. You have not done any transformation or anything. If this data is wrong, then this is wrong. If it is corrupted, it is corrupted. You have not done anything. It's simply the source data that source is delivering. Now you have landed your data here, and here in this particular layer, you will have all your historical data. You will have all your historical data, and all that data will be stored in the bronze layer. Now, when you say the data will be stored in a bronze layer, so in bronze layer, what we do is we create a bronze table. We create a bronze table. Now, what is bronze table? So let's say in the source, let's say the source of data was a CSV file. And in that particular CSV file, let's say there are 5 columns. Column A, column B, column C, column D, column E. And all these columns are by default in a particular data type or anything. They are just in the CSV file. Now, if I have loaded this source into my bronze layer, then first of all, I have to create a structure. First of all, I have to create a structure, because in the bronze layer, if I will load this data, then this data will be there in a particular structure. This will be there in a particular table. So now this bronze layer of data, if we want to store this data into the bronze layer, then first of all, we have to create a structure. So we will create a structure, or you can simply say we will create a table. A table only, will not store any data. We will just create a table with this 5 columns and any additional extra columns like load time, when this data got loaded, or load date. So along with the 5 columns A, B, C, D, E, I can attach some more columns like load time and load date, so that I can understand when this data landed into the bronze layer. Now, once I have created the table, I have a schema ready, and I will load this data from the source into this particular layer. And that layer will be my bronze table. Now, the point is that this data that you are loading from the CSV file can be in of any format. Now, when I'm creating the table, when I'm creating the structure, I need to store data as it is. So now in this structure, what I have to do? I have to make all the columns in this structure with string data type. Why with string data type? Because if all the columns will be in the string data type, then we can easily load all those columns, or we can load all the data. So string is a kind of data type which can have float values also, which can have integer values also, which can have number values also, which can have alphabetical values also. So that's why we first of all try to create all the columns in our structure as a string. And then we simply try to load the data as it is from the source. And that data gets stored in the bronze table. And bronze table has all the data which is historical. Okay. So now this is raw level of data, and our bronze layer we understood. The bronze is just a layer where we take data as it is. Now, once you have taken the data in the string format, all the columns, and once you have taken the data into the bronze layer, now what you have to understand is that this data here, it is not 100% correct. Maybe this data has multiple columns where column need to be changed, or maybe this data has particular kind of, you can say, things where data type or any column name needs to be changed, or anything needs to be changed. So at that point of time, ये raw level data hai. I have to make it perfect. I have to make it in a clean manner so that I can use it for my analysis and all those things. So for that reason, there comes the silver layer. So for that reason, there comes the silver layer. Now in silver layer, what we do is, for silver layer, our source of data is bronze layer. So first of all, you have to understand that whatever the data that you got in the bronze layer, in the bronze table, that bronze table will be the source of the silver layer. So this bronze table will be source of this silver layer. Now, this bronze table has raw level of data. So now what you have to do is, first of all, the engineers, what they do is, first of all, they try to give proper column names. The first step that they do in silver layer is they give proper column names. After that, once they have given the proper column names, they fix data type, because initially you have taken all the columns in the string format. So they will fix the data types. So these two things are done. So now these are the basic things that you do in the silver layer. Now, but after doing these basic things, let's say, you have this. So from here, right now, we are saying that we only have one CSV file. Now, let's say in the silver layer, you need to have this file or this table of bronze need to be joined with other table, or you need to have to apply some of the data quality checks, or you need to have to apply some of the duplicate checks and all. So all those transformations you will do in the silver layer. So all the transformations will be done in the silver layer. Hold a second. Okay. So all the transformations we will apply here. All the transformations we will apply here. Now these are the transformations. Now here in this silver layer, let's say, you have in the bronze layer, you have raw level of data. Let's say if you want to do some kind of, let's say, join. If you want to join this data with any other data set, join this data, or if you have to create some additional columns, or if you have to do any thing which is related to the making this data type or making this data perfect, then all these things you will do in the silver layer, and that information finally you will store in a silver table. So now silver table is your source of truth. So silver table is the source of truth. And now the best part is, let's say if any issue or if any data quality issue is there in the bronze table. So now, first of all, will not go towards data quality. First of all, we'll complete the gold layer, then we'll go towards data quality. So bronze layer is done, silver layer is done. Now, finally, here comes the gold layer. Now, what is gold layer? So first of all, for the gold layer, your source will be now silver tables. So tables which are silver tables will be your source now. And in the gold layer, what we do, we try to do final aggregations. Final aggregations. Now you will ask me, what are final aggregations? So basically, let's say in the silver layer, you fixed the data, you made the data perfect and everything. Now here in the gold layer, what you will do, you will try to create data sets based on your final requirement, or you can say final dashboard. So now let's say in the final dashboard, I wanted to show daily month on month sales related to this data or those kind of data. So here I will be writing all my group by and having queries and all my operations so that I can create the final data set that I have to show in the Power BI. And all those data sets you will store in the tables, and those tables will be gold tables. Now, these gold tables are final tables that you will use in Power BI as a data set to populate your Power BI dashboard. So this is medallion architecture. Now, in this medallion architecture, if you are creating any bronze table, then you have to give a prefix as BRZ. If you are creating any silver table, then you have to give a prefix as SLV. And if you are creating any gold table, then you have to give a prefix as GLD. So now this is the medallion architecture, like how the data flows from the source to the raw zone, and then how it moves to the final layer of the gold. Now, the good thing is that in all these layers, data engineers apply data quality checks. So in all these layers, data engineers apply data quality checks. So now what are data quality checks? So we'll try to understand data quality checks here. So now data quality checks are based on two things. So first is normal checks like null values, positive values, or you can say primary key check. So all these kind of checks are like normal checks. Now, these are also known as, you can say, primary checks or basic checks. Now, after this, there comes custom check. Now, custom checks are basically based on business rules. Let's say if your source says, or if your business says that the data that is coming from the source cannot have any duplicates on the basis of three columns, like on the level of ABC column, this data set does not have any duplicates. Or if your business says that the sales amount cannot be negative, or your business says that for these particular columns, there need to be a tax value for the products, or anything that your business says or your business level requirements are there, those things you try to check as a data quality from this data set. Now, let's say if you found some issues in the data quality checks at the bronze layer, then the best thing is you can inform the source that there is a problem from your side. If you got any data quality issues in the silver layer, it means that something you have done as a problem. Now, if you found anything in the gold layer as a data quality issue, then it means that your gold layer pipeline needs a fix. So with all these three data qualities and with all these three layers, the final data set that you show in Power BI is meaningful and is 100% accurate. Now, in the level of data quality checks here, you can inform like notifications. You can have some notification which will automatically alert on your email that something has failed in this data, something is issue in this data, so that these reportings can help the stakeholders or you to fix it at the right point of time, and you give the proper reports to the final end user. So this is how these all processes works. So yeah, if you people have any questions, you people can ask. But that is all about the webinar today. I hope you people understood that how in data engineering these things matter. Now, if you are still in that level that today also you are doing basic SQL and Python and you are not aware about these things, then I will say that you are at a very bad state right now. Don't take me wrong, but if you only know SQL and Python and basic stuff today, right now AI is changing everything. I will say it again and again. Try to understand things which are very important. Try to understand engineering. Don't move for only analytics. Move in an analytics career with engineering involved in it. And also you need to have a better use of AI. So you have to do all these things and you have to know all these things. Big platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Swiggy, all these companies are working on these architectures today. And if you are a person who don't know about these, who don't know about cloud, who don't know about data warehouses, who don't know about PySpark and all these things, which are real tools, because every company is using data, so engineering infrastructure is going to be very big. So you need to move into the big data right now. When to use ETL, ELT, or Medallion? So see again, it depends on the requirement. Let's say if my company says that we have a source of data and that is very accurate source of data. So now in that process, we will extract the data from the source and we'll directly load it. We will not do any transformation. Now, let's say there is a company or the requirement that says that I will load the data, but I will only transform it when I have to use that data. So it depends on multiple different requirements that which kind of pipeline you have to create. So as you know, I am every day taking webinars, not every day, but once in a week, or you can say 2 to 3 times in a week, I take webinars. And all these webinars I take to basically make you understand that what I'm going to give in my course that I'm going to launch. So currently my course is launched, my cohort is launched, and it's our engineering analytics cohort. In that cohort, we are only taking 25 people, and that will start in April. So if you are a person who has no knowledge and want to get into data engineering or advanced data analytics so that your job roles are open for both data analyst and data engineering career, and you want to do it in 3 months in the live classes on weekends, 3 hours each, then I will say this is your time. You can go for our cohort and we will be 100% helping you to make you ready for a product-based company. And that is something which is true here. So you will be learning all those things that are required for you. And this cohort, basically, we are launching with the TopMate as a collaborator. So all those people, if you want to have an understanding how the cohort is, and if you want to join the cohort, then I am giving my number in the chat section. You can reach out to me on WhatsApp and I will be helping you to how to enroll for this course. And once again, if you people want to start, then this cohort is going to be best for you. So right now in our cohort, we have added multiple more things. Like this time we have added two more modules of agentic AI, so that we think that agentic AI is important for you. So these are the modules from our previous cohort. So our cohort 1 is running right now. So these are the modules from our cohort 1. Now in the cohort 2, we have added more things and we have added agentic AI as well. So if you are a beginner and you want to go into a right path without wasting lakh of rupees on courses, so if you want to learn from me, So I am basically, if you don't know, then I am currently teaching in Scalar and Boss Coder, and I'm currently a senior data engineer at 7-Eleven. So I have made this course for all of you who really want to switch into their career and want a better growth after some time. Because right now, if you are not skilled and if you are in software engineering, then you are going to lose your job if you are not skilling yourself. 100% correct. I'm saying that. I am having a doubt what all skills are expected to be a good data engineer. सबसे पहले आपको Spark पता होना चाहिए. You need to know about data warehouses. You must have worked on data warehouses like Snowflake or Redshift, or you can say you must have gone through any of a cloud, and you must know IAM storage services. You must know functional services. You must know some of the things related to it. You must have an understanding of distributed databases, and you must have an understanding of system design and pipelines. So these are the things that you need to know if you want to go for it. See, data engineering along with AI is going to be the future right now, because every company requires a setup if they want AI or anything, and engineering people will help here. And along with this, AI can create agents who can simply kill your job. So now the point is that you have to upskill, and you cannot rely on only SQL and Python, even if you are working or if you want to switch. So if you want to be in tech, if you want to be an engineer for next 10 years, then try to learn the things which are important for you, and don't go for courses where only four things are promised, which are SQL, Python, Excel, and Power BI. Nothing is going to help you in that way. Again, I'm saying if you are going to a simple data analyst career, after 1.5 years, your job will not be there. And it is a reality. So if you have any questions, or if you want to go with our course, or if you want to ask anything about the course, then I have given my number. You can ping me on WhatsApp directly. My number is in the chat box, and I'm giving you my LinkedIn profile as well, so that you people can connect with me if you have any doubts or question related to it. This is my LinkedIn profile I have shared. So all of you, if you have any questions, you people can connect with me. Thanks all of you for joining the session. I hope you liked it, and thank you so much for joining.